All right, in front of blessings. All right, before we begin, back for another video. Real quick, if you need to, or you want information on how to sign up for the classes that I offer, which is the most frequent email I get, how do I sign up for your classes, what kind of classes you offer, you can find everything at the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, tier 3, that's the way you want to go. That'll give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, plus the group ritual we do at the end of the month. I will be posting some new posts for the September Patreon classes and ritual. Look forward for that in the next day or two from this video, possibly maybe later tonight. Also, if you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I order various different readings: Clepothic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, deity readings to see what demon and spirits walk with you and influence your life. Shadow work readings, which is always a good place, or something you should do, period. Especially if you're looking for a direction or guidance on what kind of ritual work you should be doing at the current moment you got going on, things that are going on in your life to get pushed in that correct direction. Anyway, for a full list of readings and information on how to book a reading or a consultation, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. Also, the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference is in full effect. You can sign up for that now. You can register either to come live and in person, or you can attend virtually. It's a 4-day event from October 19th to the 22nd. So you can, again, we are signing up people and registering for that now. It is officially open. This will be our 6th straight year of doing it. It's a real fun time, especially if you're able to come live and in person. Also, keep in mind, all the new content and some existing content is now uploaded on the Primordial Chaos podcast, which can be found on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Also, the direct link to that podcast is in the description box of this video, along with my email, and also the link to the Patreon page if you're interested in signing up for the classes. All right, so this is going to be a real short tutorial. It's probably maybe a 20-minute video, so max. Is your magic working? And the reason why I titled the video, Is Your Magic Working? This is something that comes up a lot. People will send me emails about things they're doing that's working, not working. Then they're trying to, figure out what's going on, what's not going on, this, that, and the other. And I've explained many times over the years, there's one way to gauge if your magic is working, and then you have to look at it in depth. And let me talk about it. Results. Okay? Results. Say that in your head. If you're not getting results, it's not working. It's that simple. So then we got to figure out what we do moving forward. First of all, we have to make sure we have an understanding from a spiritual and a scientific perspective of what magic is. It's the science of understanding oneself and their environment and having the ability to transform and change that environment in order to better themselves, right? So sometimes it's always recommended that a magician, a practicing occultist, keep a magical diary or a journal, right? Whichever you want to refer to it as, which is a record of the ritual work you've done. But not only is it a record of the ritual work that you have done, you can use it as a measuring rod to see, okay, I started doing this X amount of time ago, or I was here 6 months ago or a year ago, and now I'm here. This is a great way for you to gauge, to see if you are getting those results, okay? Because if you started a practice 6 months, a year ago, a year and a half ago, and you're not seeing any change, and it's definitely, the outcome is not coming out with what you lined your intent up with, then something's not right. Okay? Now, there could be a couple of different factors for that, so let's talk about that real quick. Sometimes your intent isn't in alignment. Sometimes what you're working towards may not be practical. And for an example, you can't want to be a, superstar caliber all-star NBA player and you can't play basketball. You might like the sport, but just because you like it and you don't have any athletic ability, more than likely it's going to take a lot more work. Okay? Are you aiding your magic? Here's a key reason why people don't get results. They think they don't have to do anything in their physical mundane. You know what? I did a ritual. I lit some candles. I did some spell work. I did this, that, and nothing's happening. All right, well, let me make this clear. Another way to test, engage, if you're doing things right or you're getting results. Let's say you're trying to do work for finances, or you're trying to obtain a position for a particular job or something career orientated. You still got to go out there, put your resume out there, go on interviews, check different avenues where doors. You got to be doing work in your physical mundane existence to assist your magic. Contrary to belief, if it was just as easy, as I said many times before, to just say a few invocations, light a couple of candles, and poof, it's all fixed. Man, look, we'd all be living like fat cats, right? We'd all be living large, okay? That's not how this works. So are you aiding your magic in your physical mundane existence? So you still, if you're doing work to open a door for a job, you got to be out there still looking for work. Because the more you assist and aid your magic, the more effective it's going to fuel your intent. Okay? That's the point. But just to sit back, I did one ritual. I got a candle going that I charged, to open a door for finance, but nothing's happening. Well, what are you doing to assist it? All right? Ask yourself that. What are you doing to assist your magic? That could be why your magic isn't working. Maybe the work or the intent or what you're trying to accomplish, you didn't approach it from a practical perspective. So let's just say you do want to be that superstar basketball player, and maybe you suck ass. Maybe you need to get a coach, practice harder, because see, sometimes how the spirits work, they'll give you the drive and motivation to fuel your desire and drive in your mundane physical life. That's my point. See, people get it all fucked up. They think this is all Harry Potter, wave your wand, puff the magic dragon, poof, poof, there it is. It's not how this works, people. This is about enforcing your willpower on a situation. It's how strong, first of all, it says a lot about an individual's mental powers, right? When you've heard me say many times over the years, you will be tested on this path, as far as how powerful is your magic. Is your magic really powerful? Does it work? Because if you're carrying out all these different practices and you're doing all these rituals and nothing's really happening and you're not addressing that shit, then the question is, what are you doing? Right? Something's wrong. The magical diary or the journal, which is a record of your work, as I said, if you look back on something a year, 2-3 years ago, and then you gauge where you're at today, you're not seeing any change in yourself and in your life, then no, your magic isn't working. Okay? So the solution is to do all the things that I mentioned in here to check. Right? Reevaluate your intent. Is your intent practical? Did you fuel your intent correctly? And what are you doing to assist your magic? Okay? So this is where you start. Because people always, it's amazing how people will reach out to me and they act completely, confused on where to begin and how to figure this out. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. Now, the flip side, if you see the results, you are growing, okay? You are looking, say, in your magical journal and you're gauging and you do see change. You do see transformation. You do see results, happening in your life. Then there's your answer. And please, this is another thing. Don't diminish the power of your magic to make it not work. So what do I mean by that? As I've said many times before, on the occult and the left-hand path, when we are finished with the ritual, we don't say, so mote it be, or any of that hocus pocus, leaving it up to some mysterious spirit force. Because when you say, so mote it be, what you really are saying is you have no control over what's going to happen. So you're putting it into the hands of the unknown, which that leads us back right into a religious school of thought and religious mindset. We don't want to do that. So you make a firm conviction at the end of each one of your rituals. So it is done. You say that with conviction and passion, because that's leaving it in the affirmative, that what you just carried out, what you just completed is finished. Okay? And it's successful. And you leave your intent out there, quote unquote, in the magical realm. So don't second guess your magic. See, that's the thing. So I say that to say, because this is another very common email I get. And this happens all the time. Somebody will send me an email, hey, Brother Baniti, I did this ritual, such and this and that. And then they'll give me information in the email about all these great results they got and this, that. And then they'll end towards the end of the email, they'll say stuff like, you think I did this right, or such and such, this and that. Again, if you're getting results, that's your answer. So we're dealing with 3 perspective and understanding. Is your magic working? 1, if you're not seeing those results, you're gauging it, and you're not evaluating it, or you have under those couple of key principles that I told you. Are you assisting your magic? Is your intent practical, etc.? All of those things, that's one way. 2, if you're not, quote unquote, like I was just explaining, second guessing or doubting your magic, because what that does is diminish the power of your magic. So for an example, this is something you should never do. After you complete a ritual, after it's finished, don't afterwards start, I wonder if I did this right. I wonder if that. I wonder this. I wonder that. I don't know if I meant that. And then you're just doubting. What you are doing slowly but surely, that intent you put out there, you are weakening the power of it the more you second guess it. And this is a lot of people's problem why their magic does not work. Okay? Now, let me also stress this. You might plan a ritual, and I'm going to be honest with you. And again, I always got to say this. I'm not saying my methodology is going to work for everybody. But you got to find your niche, right? I would, as I've developed via my experience, I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. I don't really plan anything out. Now, if I get inspired to use work or something from a book, in the order of the fashion it might come to me, I make the adjustments. Like when I'm doing rituals, even on Patreon, I tell you guys, I really don't know how it's going to be done. Now, I might have an idea in my mind, like I want to focus on the Jinn and Shaitan like this past month, but I have no clue how that's going to pan out until pretty much right up until before the ritual. I don't go in there with anything prepared or planned or any of that. I'm going to explain to you why. Okay? Sometimes in the ritual, spontaneous, the spirit will communicate to you and things will just come. And there's things that just come naturally in the ritual, right? That's why I do a lot of it on the fly, and a lot of it I just freestyle it. Because as I've grown, I've found that's the best method for me. Now, I'm not saying that's going to work for everybody. I'm saying that to say now to get to this point. Let's say you did sit down and plan this ritual. You wrote the outline. You had an idea. Because everybody's different, and there's nothing wrong with writing it out or planning it. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes people get stuck in the details. So what will happen is they'll do a ritual. Say there was a part they were supposed to do it with the chalice, or they had something they wanted to do with the sigil, or some other element to the ritual. Let's just say it naturally slipped their mind and they forgot. They go, oh man, I forgot that part in the ritual, such and such that I want to do, man. And they start worrying in their mind, like, I don't think it's going to work because I forgot that little. That's not how this works, people. There's no spooky God keeping score. These spirits aren't like that. I keep a score. Oh, you forgot the part where you were supposed to do that, point A with the ritual. With the sigil, it's not going to work. Don't do that. If you forget something, it's always about your intent. The spirits and the demons feed off the energy of your intent. As long as your intent is in line, it's going to happen. It happens to all of us. And it will happen here and there. It's not just going to happen once or twice. There's going to be times where you forget shit. This is why, as I've grown in my practice, I like to just flow with it. and kind of freestyle, because it's hard for me like to do a ritual and remember all the steps, or I can't do a ritual with a book in front of me, especially a solo ritual. Now, group rituals are a little different because you might use a group invocation, a group mantra. All right, that's a little different. So you also got to understand the difference between doing magic as a group and individual. But individually, I can't have anything. I can't have any books or any. I need to be focused on the ritual. So a good method, let's say you like a ritual in the book, you see it, you make your adjustments and you're changing changes. Just get the understanding of the outline in your head, have it in your head, and then go into the ritual work exclusively flowing with it, having the outline in your head, because you're going to find out your energy and your focus and your concentration is going to be more locked in. Now, again, I'm speaking more so for me. Maybe there's some people who do carry out successful ritual work. They have a book with them in the ritual. It doesn't distract them. So I'm not saying it does not work. I'm just saying I don't suggest it, because I think when you're doing your solo practitioner work, you need to really be locked in and focused. And to me, a book or external objects that I need to focus on takes my energy and focus away from the ritual, because I'm paying attention and giving energy, say, to the book, etc. So I'm just trying to give you ideas to maybe assist you to help maybe your magic work, or to help you understand maybe why it could not be working. Okay? But it's all about results. So step one obviously would be, am I getting results? If the answer is yes, continue to proceed. Keep doing what you're doing. Sometimes people will do the one and done thing or the two and done thing. I told you, I'm going to do maybe another follow-up to how to read candles, read signs, communications from the spirits. I say that to say because sometimes you need to stay at work for a while consistently on a specific situation. Sometimes it's not a one and done, a two and done, or a three and done. You might have to stay at it for a little bit of time to get the result you want. That's the other problem. People will do a one and done and nothing happened. I don't get it. What am I doing wrong? You're not being consistent, right? We talked about that many times in previous classes and videos. So sometimes understand it's not about a one and done. That doesn't work all the time. Maybe you got to stay at it a few times. Maybe you got to stay at it a month. Maybe you need to stay at it because the situation could be a lot more critical and needs a lot more energy and spiritual work. Okay? So you have to look at all those things. You have to factor all those things in before you start saying, my magic isn't working. Because I can tell you, if you understand being on the path of self-mastery involves taking responsibility for your successes and your failures, okay? So I can tell you this, there's no external force creating a reason why it's not working. More than likely, you are at the root cause of why it's not working, because maybe you're not approaching it correctly. Remember, approach is before intent. Your approach says a lot. Is it sloppy? Are you detailed in your approach? Because remember, also being a magician is like being a scientist doing experiments. Also keep in mind, some shit's gonna work and some shit's not. So sometimes you might have to go all the way back to the drawing board and just start all over again from scratch. Right? Just like a scientist who carries out experiments to get answers to certain things. Part of what you do is you're experimenting with things. So sometimes, let me throw that one in there. Sometimes it could just simply be you need to just scratch it, start all over, because maybe it just was all fucked up, and you need to just rethink this, redo it over, and see what happens. Start all over again. That can happen too. Okay? So all of these things you need to look at to gauge. It's always about results. Is my magic working? First we go to results. Am I getting results? Yes, good. Keep going. No? All right. Remember, we're critical thinkers on this path. What we do, that's what we do is different. So a magician's going to go to work hard. If it's not working, they're going to really dig deep and look into things really intensely to come up with some answers and solutions, right? And look, it's okay if you go through periods or you go through times where you struggle. Things just may not be going right, may not be working. That's okay. What's not okay is you not doing anything about it, or assuming, which bothers the shit out of me, assuming it's something external. Like, I love the spookies that, something or somebody's out there to get. That's that religious shit. You're gonna find out 99.9% of your problems are self-created. Okay? By the choices and decisions you make, because that's all karma really is. It's the cause and effect of the choices and the decisions you make. And once you understand that, that's when things really start to change for you. So a good practicing magician, when something fails, they start with themselves first. He or she. Okay? We're not looking to blame somebody outside of ourselves or, no. Things are happening and going on around you because you made conscious decisions to allow that. Okay? Or you might have opened yourself up subliminally for subconscious things to enter your mind that you may not be aware of, but you can uncover through your ritual work. All right? So, having said that, I told you I wasn't going to make this too long. These are the answers and the solutions to figure out, is your magic working? Are you getting the results? It's that simple. And then proceed forward from there. It's not complicated, people. Sometimes people make this shit way more complex than it needs to be. They make it so difficult, and so everything's so deep and so heavy and complicated. No. Simplify this shit. It's not as complicated or as deep as we make it out to be sometimes. Okay? All right. Having said that, that's going to end this video. Again, if you need to reach out to me and you're interested in signing up for the classes I offer, go to patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to join. Tier 3 gives you access to the 3 private classes I do on Patreon every month, including the monthly ritual we do as a group at the end of the month. If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, or you're interested in information on the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. That email, along with the link to the Patreon page, is in the description box of this video. Also, all this new content and existing content is now uploaded on the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Also, the direct link to the podcast is in the description box of this video. All right, that's going to do it for now. I'll see you guys on the next video. Infernal blessings, and we'll talk soon.